Hey guys, welcome to the Hertz Podcast. I'm Peyton Hurt,
And I'm Kelsey Hurt.
and this is episode 13.
13.
Yes.
Welcome back. If you have been listening to other episodes, we're happy that you're back. If you have not checked out our other episodes, we have obviously 12 before this one.
Yeah, so we are on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify, and we post every Tuesday morning, so weekly. So,
Yes. So join us for the ride, because it's a fun time.
Yeah, so getting started, we're going to talk about our weekend last week. So Friday night,
I had a friend over.
yes, and I gamed with my new friend.
Yes, fun time. Saturday, I hung out with my mom and my sister. My sister was in town.
And I had some free time to do yard work and catch up on some things around the house, so I did that.
And then lastly, Sunday was Mother's Day, so we celebrated our moms.
Yeah, I went to church, celebrated our moms. It was good to have family.
Mm-hmm.
Really good weekend. So
Yeah.
It was very, very relaxing too.
And we film usually every Monday. So today, the week I think started off strong. Today we came home from work and we ate food and then we went and played basketball.
Yes.
It's our new thing. We've been doing this thing where one another, like if Peyton's shooting and he misses, he has to run. And then if I shoot and I miss, I have to run.
So like what she's saying is like, I didn't have to run.
No, that's not true. But that was fun. And then we went for a walk and we're here. It's 9 p.m. and we're spending it with you guys.
Yes.
We love it.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So the topic this week is going to be obedience. And this has been on my mind a little bit. We kind of went back and forth about what we wanted to talk about, and that's why it's 9 p.m. is because we tried a couple other topics, and it just wasn't working. So I guess you could say we were being obedient by speaking about obedience now.
Yes, and because it can be easy to get discouraged and just like give up and not do it.
Yeah,
right?
but
like,
we want to be obedient and we want to be consistent and we want to post weekly, and we're so happy that we have a topic and we feel like we're able to talk about it, and it just came more easily than the other topics.
Right. And I think also like obedience to that, like God has called us. So I feel like it's kind of like when God calls you to that, like you want to pursue it because it feels purposeful.
Yeah.
Like this feels fruitful.
Right. I love it. It's a part of our weekly routine now.
It is. It really is.
If we didn't do it, I'd be like confused. What else are we doing on a Monday night?
Right.
So before we kind of dive into the topic, we wanted to highlight a few verses. Peyton's going to start off by reading Hebrews 5:8.
Yes. Okay, so Hebrews 5:8. Son though he was, he learned obedience from what he suffered, and once made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation for all who obey him. I know that was only verse 8. That was also 9. But again, we see that Jesus, he learned obedience from suffering what he did. So we see
suffering on the cross.
Yeah,
that was
suffering.
enacted obedience. Yeah,
right.
That's the greatest act of obedience. Yeah,
because we remember that even right before Jesus hung on the cross, we remember him asking for his cup to be taken, right? Like he wanted God to take that away so that way he didn't have to go, but he knew that it was God's will.
He was obedient.
Yeah, and he was obedient to that. He knew that that was God's will and that was what God wanted for him in his life.
Yeah, that's powerful. Starting us off with a big one.
Boom.
I'm going back to the Old Testament, Deuteronomy 5:33. Oh, very last verse of it. Okay. Walk in obedience to all that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live and prosper and prolong your days in the land that you will possess. This is actually the same verse as the same chapter as the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments are discussed here. So with that context, I'm going to read it again. Walk in obedience to all that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live and prosper and prolong your days in the land that you will possess. I think that that's obviously relating to the Ten Commandments, but we can also relate to it now, where it's just a good reminder that the Lord has commanded us Maybe it's where you're working. Maybe it's who you interact with day to day. Maybe it's if you're starting a family or not. And just living in obedience is so important because it says you may live and prosper. So God's will, it points back to God's will.
Yeah, that's what stuck out to me too, the word prosper, because it's like, what an encouraging word. Like, you know, if I'm obedient at my workplace, kind of like you said, if I'm obedient, you know, in what God calls me to do, like, in a way, I think that's God is going to favor that. God is going to allow you to prosper for trusting in Him and being obedient in what He called you to do.
Yeah, I like that word a lot. Lastly, and this is going to be the last verse, James 1:22 through 25. I should always just have my finger on it, but it takes me a minute to find it. Okay. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourself. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror, and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. I like that verse a lot, those verses. And I think that's such a good analogy because, I mean, for me, I look in the mirror all the time.
Yeah.
And to the point where I probably shouldn't because it's vanity. But I guess just like, you know, that we're used to looking at ourselves and like, how does my hair look throughout the day? Let me get my camera out. And imagine just doing that so consistently and then you right away forget what you look like. You know, like that doesn't make sense. So why would we read the word and not do what it says? Why wouldn't we be obedient to it? So I think that's a really good analogy.
That is. And I also like that because, you know, it puts an image in my mind because, like, in our bathroom, obviously that's where we get ready in the morning, but we have, like, as soon as you walk in, we have, like,
a huge mirror.
Our wall is, like, literally the entire mirror.
It's fun to clean. Yeah. Just so you know.
Like, it's probably 20 by 20.
Yeah.
Like, not even kidding. Maybe not 20 by 20. Maybe, like,
I don't know measurements. I'm bad at that.
Yeah. Let's say 8 by 8.
Yeah.
We're gonna say 8 by 8.
Okay.
I guess it doesn't even matter. But yeah, that image of that and the analogy is really good.
Yeah, for sure. So going more into obedience, you know, you might be asking yourself, well, why obey? First off, I think the Bible states it clearly. It's an act of worship. When you obey, you're worshiping the Lord. You're saying that He is worthy of listening to. And then also, obeying the Lord aligns with His will. Those scriptures had mentioned that, I can't think specifically what it said, but alluding to, like, it will lead you
to prosper,
to your path.
Right?
Yeah, prosper.
Right, like
you
to
will
prosper.
Be blessed.
Yes.
Which leads me to say, according to James 1:25, we saw that it brings blessings.
Yes.
You know, obeying the Lord brings blessings. If you listen to Him, you know, He will bless you.
Mm-hmm. And I think also, like, with obeying, it can be difficult because in this life we like to have control, right? Like, we aren't comfortable with things out of our control. We aren't comfortable with things that, like, we don't like to put ourselves in situations that we don't feel comfortable in. So when you follow Christ, when you take a step of faith and into obedience, you're going to be put you're going to be uncomfortable.
You're going to get out of your comfort zone.
You're going to get
but you don't grow in your comfort zone.
Right.
Someone said that. That always stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
So obedience isn't always going to be comfortable, but again, it's going to get you where you need to go.
Right.
You know, if it's God telling you something to do something, it will help you get to where you need to go.
Yes.
So now we want to discuss times that we have obeyed. Peyton, would you like to start it off?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say this, the podcast, right? Like, this is something that, and I know we've shared this in the past, but we had this on our heart very early on.
Yeah, like 2 months into dating.
Yeah, and we had bought just podcast stuff, and
it was sitting around for probably like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Before we could use it.
and I don't even know where it came from. Like it was so like it was such a spontaneous like thing that we did. Like we just felt like, yeah, like a podcast would be cool. And then we bought stuff and then it was like, well, what do we do?
Yeah,
Like where
and
does this go?
we weren't even podcast listeners,
No.
honestly. So it was just
No.
so random. Yeah, I never
Yeah.
realized that.
Yeah. So that was kind of something we obeyed. Like we answered the call, but then we kind of like we pursued this. And I think being obedient, doing it weekly, because there's times where you guys don't see it, but this can be difficult sometimes. It can be like um, we
Well, like we just shared like
right.
earlier, I think it took like 2 takes and 30 minutes to realize, oh, we're going to talk about obedience. And
Mm-hmm.
usually it comes faster sometimes where we're like, this is what we're going to talk about, this is what we're going to say.
Yeah.
But even on our walk before this episode, Peyton was saying, well, what are we going to talk about? What should we talk about? And my mind was just blank. I'm like,
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so there's times where it comes easier of what to say, and then there's times where we're tired and maybe we don't know exactly what to say, but the Lord is still using us through
Right.
that. We're able
Yes.
to say how we struggle.
For sure. Right. And I think it's really cool to see though, because like as we go through this episode, and like Kelsey said, we had a few other takes before this. Like everything was just so flat. Like we didn't know like what to say. Everything just didn't flow right. But like I know this is the right thing, because like I'm not even thinking of what to say. Like it's just like coming out. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy how being obedient and how the Spirit works through that. So,
So the podcast.
yeah. So the podcast, yeah, that was something that we've been obedient in weekly, and it's proof of what we've done to show you guys too, because we've posted weekly.
Yeah, and while we had the idea, this just hit me. While we had the idea 2 months into dating, so what? That was 2023 of doing a podcast. We were long distance for almost 2 years ish, like 8 months at a time. And so we didn't want to start it in the summer while we were dating, because then I'd have to go back up at school. So we were still obedient to something that was spoken, or like a desire that we had, that we felt God was giving us 2 years ago, and it just took us a while to get it started. So the season that we had the desire was not the same in which it was time to obey, I feel like. And we had a hard time obeying at first.
Yeah.
But it just made more sense to start a podcast once we were married, if that makes sense. So we had the desire when we were dating, but the time that we obeyed was different.
Yeah, because in that season when we were doing long distance, it would have been very difficult to. I mean, how would we have done that? I mean, we would have done like a Zoom call, a Zoom podcast.
Hey.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, also we have all of the stories from long distance and the things I went through, and we weren't the same people in 2023. So that being said, is like, what you're being called to do might be different each season.
Yes.
And the timing might look different, but that's for something for you to pray about and maybe sit with. Maybe God has it all under control. He does.
So Kelsey, you give us a.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a couple. So first off, for my job. So I mentioned the first episode. I don't really talk about it. I'm a teacher. And there were a couple of different options. I interviewed at a couple different jobs, and before even getting an offer, Peyton and I were just like, or I told Peyton, I don't know what to do if I would get 2 offers from different schools. And Peyton and I prayed in that moment, and we just prayed that God would close the door if needed.
And make it evident. Make it so clear that it's not confusing.
Yes. So I got told that I got this job that I'm at on my birthday. And then 3 weeks later, after I got the declined email, like I got the rejection email from the other job I interviewed at, they called me back. And so this first job that I already accepted, it was perfect, because I was told no from the other school, and then it was just interesting. 3 weeks later, they asked if I could teach, but I had already committed to this first job. And taking this job, I've seen why God has put me here.
Yeah.
I mean, the friendships that I've grown, the things that I've learned have been so great. So that was just a time where I was obedient, and I could have been like, okay, I'll take this other job. It's closer, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But no, I chose to stay in that first job I committed to.
Because at that point, if you would have taken the other job, because we've seen confirmation that where you're at is right, because you've seen the fruits of where you're at.
Yes.
Right. And
yes.
I think also, like, if you would have went with this other job, we pray that God made it evident. God made it evident, and I think that if you would have taken this, it would have been out of selfish, right? Because you said, "Oh, it's closer, it's
whatever,
right,
this.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with where I'm at. I love the staff. Oh my goodness, it's just so amazing. God is so good. I've gotten really close to a couple of girls, and that was a worry of mine coming back from college, which I'll get into in a second.
Yes.
But coming back from college and, like, the new season of life, I wanted friends. So God is good.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
And the second thing where I've obeyed God is just putting myself in healthy environments when I was in college, because going back to that friendship piece, I think if I would have sought approval, sought a good time, sought what the world had to offer, I would not be where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So.
No, very good. And my second point, I would be saying, like, God's calling on my life, being obedient, because, I'm uncomfortable with where God has placed me. Like,
like your job.
Like, yes, like with my job, but also like
the union.
I've always been an introvert, and like staying.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, staying to myself, but becoming a Christ follower, Christ has really like brought me out of my shell.
Yeah.
And I think being obedient in that, like, I trust in God that He's going to provide in certain not in certain scenarios, but in scenarios that He puts me in through my job, through ministry, through the young adults group and things like that, being able to speak into people's lives. God has called me to that, and I want to continue to grow in that and be obedient. So that's, I think, somewhere where I've continued to grow.
That's powerful.
The one that goes into that is also like God's words and His truth, because I want to read and continue to learn and grow in the knowledge that I have in the Word, to be able to speak truth into other people's lives.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, obeying, again, that verse in James, like, actually doing what the Word says, not just reading it.
Yeah,
applying it to your lives.
Yes.
Now we want to kind of brush on times that we've disobeyed, just to, highlight that disobeying, for me, at least for my story that I'm about to tell, it delayed, I think, what God had for me. And I say that, obviously, God's timing is perfect, but I could have stepped into peace. I could have stepped into whatever it might be, a healthier situation sooner than I did if I obeyed the Lord, if that makes sense. But again, my testimony, God worked it out perfectly. So times that I've disobeyed, I would say leaving that a relationship, because it was such an unhealthy situation and just a cycle. I would stay in it constantly, and it really just tore apart my worth, and just caused me to stray away from honestly seeing like God's love, His goodness. And so the fact that I stayed in it, I think I disobeyed the Lord, and I should have left sooner. But God is good, and He restores, and
Good.
I'm here.
Yeah, you're here. You're here. Okay, so times, I know this is like,
it's like what?
It's a we, but like I'm gonna revert back to the podcast too, and let me get into it. So when we moved in, got married, right? Like we were still trying to figure things out, but like people kept asking. Like I feel like God was trying to like kind of nudge it. Like not that we were feeling conviction, but like we were feeling like, hey, we need to get this thing going, right? And we were kind of like pushing it off. We're like, we don't really know what to do. Like, we don't have the setup. And then we just started filming. And once we started, like, it's been amazing to see how we've grown since episode 1 to now.
Yeah.
Thanking God. But that sense of we pushed it off because we weren't comfortable with it. We weren't used to it. So we were being, disobedient.
Because we got married in June, and then I moved in after we got married. And I think that summer was like, okay, we're getting used to being married. We have this. We'll push the podcast off. And like you said, we just kept pushing it off to the point where it was like, okay, it's time. We need to start this. And it's been really fruitful and a blessing.
Yeah, I think there's also, I don't have a specific time that I think currently right now, but I know there's been times in my life where I've tried to take control of a situation, and that's disobeying God. It really is, not being obedient, because if I try to take control of a scenario or a situation in my life, I am not trusting God. I'm not being obedient to what God has for me because I'm trying to take control of it. So
that's a good point.
I don't like I said, I don't have a specific story, but I know that I've done that in my life. So now that we've kind of shared personal stories, we've went into things like that, scripture, kind of some points. If you're struggling to be obedient, right, you might be thinking like, man, like, what does obedience look like? So one, like, slow down and listen. Slow down and listen to God. Like, pray about what God has for you in your season of life right now. Look and reflect in your own life. What are you trying to take control of? What are you struggling to let go? Maybe there's something that you're holding on to because you feel like God can't get you through that, right? Again, that might be just not trusting in God, but it also falls into the category of being disobedient, not obeying God.
Yeah, and in that, lean on Him because He's your support, you know?
Right.
I do want to say, like, we're talking about when you're struggling with obedience. You know, obedience doesn't have to be, it looks different in each season. I mean, like, it might be your job. Maybe you're changing jobs. Maybe you're just starting to interview for jobs. It could be a relationship. It could be a friendship. It could even be simple interactions. It could be you see somebody struggling and you feel like the Lord is prompting you to talk to them, but you don't feel comfortable.
Right.
This happens to me sometimes. And it's just like kind of that little war, like, well, if I don't say something, like, you know, that type of thing, a little struggle. But being obedient, even in a simple interaction, you know, to point someone to Christ, it might look different for you. But yeah, if you slow down, listen to what God has for you, let go of maybe your comfort.
Yeah, control.
And lean on the Lord, that will be helpful.
Yes.
And being obedient, again, allows you to trust in God and be who He called you to be.
Yes, I love that. That's so good. I love how this came together.
Yeah.
I love obedience. It's a great thing that we have access to, obviously, and something that we need to continue to do, again, in our reading, prayer, our calling in our life.
And it's a choice.
Yes, it is. And it's not an easy one.
No.
You know, because again, that sense of control, giving up that control, letting go of things that, you know, we may want to have access to or whatever.
Yeah, but it's an act of worship.
Yeah.
And you've got it.
You got it. Yes. Yes, you got it.
I think that's a wrap on our episode.
It's a wrap.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you so much.
We encourage you to maybe ask God what you can be obedient in, or maybe it's evident and it just keeps coming in your mind throughout this podcast.
Yeah.
We pray that you are able to follow through with obedience to Christ. It might be reading the Word. It might be applying it to your life. Whatever it might be.
Or maybe it's some coworker, or maybe it's someone out, a stranger that's struggling with something. Again, kind of like Kelsey said, if you feel that tugging, like, hey, maybe I should talk to them about Christ.
That's the Holy Spirit.
Maybe I should share my faith. That's the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting goofy because
all right. Yeah.
Enjoy your week. See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.